Welcome back to the Abundant Harvest Homestead. Do y'all remember me? Honestly, it has been a while, and this has been a busy year so far. We've been learning a lot, accomplishing a lot. I've been working a lot, I will admit that. Gone a lot for work, but I am so excited for this year, this season, gardening once again, and I've got some super exciting stuff going on right here underneath these trifoliate citrus trees. As we get started in this video, I'm just going to give a quick shout out to Sanctified Supply Company, keeping me clothed today. We've got a new shirt supposedly coming out in the near future, anyway. And cool thing about that is it actually ties in with the channel intro that we're going to be making for our channel, which is going to fit together really well with that. See the sheep over there think I'm going to weed. They're on that side of things right now, but they think I'm going to weed the garden, so they're coming up and letting me know they're there. Hopefully they don't provide too much background noise for you, but the cicadas might later this year, right? So let me show you what I got going on under these trifoliate citruses. We've had these for years now. I think this is 2017, planted them, so 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. This is their 8th year that we've had them. And they fruited amazing. If you've not seen the video on them, I'd recommend it. Really cool to be growing them this far north, unprotected, just out in the open. And one thing that happens when you have things fruit is you have things seed then. This is actually one of the fruits from last year that's just been sitting in the fridge since last fall. And it's got seeds in it. It's still a little squishy, but it gives me the opportunity like this. Oh, I see there's one sprouting up here. There's a tiny one right there. And then look at these guys doing so well. All these trifoliates sprouting. And one thing I like to do is to mimic the wild. Ooh, anyone know who this is? Okay, I'm gonna move this rhubarb leaf. Who is that little guy there? Take a guess in the comment section if you know. And I'll get back to that in a minute. But all these little guys here are growing from seed. I like to replicate the way that things happen. So if you think about this tree in the fall, here's the tree. This would fall to the ground and it would lay there through the winter. And then in the spring, you'd see sprouts popping up. Well, there's 2 in that one. Overachiever. Here's a little one coming. Here's one coming. But a lot of people will take seeds and they'll sometimes hit them with a file to kind of scarify them a bit. They'll put them in a fridge or a freezer. They'll put them in water and do different things to stratify them. And if you just plant them in the fall, all that kind of happens for them. And then in the spring, you get all these little ones coming up. And I really like just reducing my effort. Because the way I see it, the lower my investment of time and effort, the easier it is to get a return on my investment. So if I just drop these all in here in the fall and let them sit out under the actual trees is where I have them. Now I did put them in pots, that way I wouldn't have to dig them out of the soil. Some of them actually have roots going out the bottom already too. So it's actually time to transplant them. I just wanted to get them better established before I put them in the actual soil where I want them growing on my property. Then of course now I have an opportunity to have way more than I need and possibly getting them into the hands of some other people too. But before I came out and transplanted them, I wanted to make this video and show this off to you guys. And we're actually working on a number of propagation methods with these. So the one is just growing them from seed, right? That's the easiest way that it's designed to be propagated. You get the fruit has the seed in itself to grow more of them. I like fertile things. I like things that are reproductive. So if I get a fruit that's tasty and it gives me the seed, that makes life easier, right? Another thing we've done, as you can see here, this one is kind of suckering. It's from the main thing. I got 4 big sprouts here and then a couple off to the side. Well, I've done this before where I'll actually take one of these and I'll prune off all the branches that are sticking off the side of it, and I'll slide a pot down all the way to the base. And this one's actually 7 or 8 feet tall. It's way up in there. And I slid that down, and now if I keep it watered, it'll actually root in here. Same thing over here. See, there's another one. And eventually, because these are translucent, I'll be able to see the roots through there, and I'll know when it's ready. When it's ready, I'll cut it off from the parent plant, and I'll have, you know, a nice little one already growing that I can transplant. I'll take you on a short trip over by my little garden pond, and I will say there was a lot of unexpected stuff that happened with this pond that I wasn't planning for. I've got a video on it, but it's actually been a huge blessing to have, especially up here in the garden area. So here's my pond, it's alive and well, but here's a trifoliate citrus right here. Okay, this one is planted right down here. That's the base. And this whole thing is just a clone off of one of those that I did that layering method on. I'm like, well, I don't need a whole nother tree shooting up right next to this tree. It's not really gonna serve its purpose. Let's get it rooted first, then let's remove it, and then let's send it over there. Worked. A couple years that should be flowering and fruiting. So one of the other propagation methods that we were doing is actually part of an ongoing experiment, so I'm gonna wait to make sure it succeeds and then show you the results of that. So stay tuned for a future video on that method. Can you come stand next to here for a minute? I'm gonna step back and just kind of show you. Here's my boy. How tall are you, do you know?
4 feet, 7 inches.
He's 4'7", and those go way up there above him. So some of those are probably between 10 and 12 feet. But they grow kind of upright. They're not doing too bad. And we definitely think they're easy to fit into here. And then this year, there's not going to be as much fruit as last year. We had some late frost. I actually tried some cross-pollinating this year. But we do have some that look beautiful, like that guy. I don't know if you can see him center screen. See that? Here's another little one dangling center screen. Right there. Yeah, cute little guy. And there's more balls up there in the sky I can see. And it's actually still flowering, which is cool. The bees will take care of that. So cool thing about our area is that these trifoliate citrus, which produce a nice tasty fruit, we've made what? Lemonade from it? Oh, you guys should see that. It was so good. Such an incredible lemonade substitute. And then we also made like a key lime pie out of it. That was fantastic. But it's not the only citrus that'll grow out here. This one is actually from a friend of mine. There's a long story with how he acquired these. But this is a flying dragon. And a flying dragon has thorns like the trifoliate, but they're more curved like a talon. And then we were talking with some friends of ours, and they were watching a video. And they actually encountered something growing out in their area, which had this. So see, here's one on my tree, the bigger one. And here's one that they encountered out in Mississippi. And that was Southern Blessed Homestead. So right now, I've got a pile of trifoliates, right? My buddy gave me a flying dragon, and that's often used for a rootstock for all sorts of stuff. And then I've got a number of these seeds that are germinating and sprouting right now too. And then I've got this guy, which is probably about the same thing, but we're gonna grow it anyway and see. But one thing I'm looking forward to do, if I have citrus that grows in my garden and it can just sit here unprotected, you know, I could leave these just sitting here from now unprotected, and they would just grow and grow and grow and last through the winter, last through the frost, last through snow. We've had snow, last through frost, cold temperatures, all of that. They work fine in this area. But if I have these that do, and then there's some that are almost on this zone, and I was thinking of cross-pollinating them. And I actually took some Meyer lemon pollen, and I pollinated 5 of the little flowers that I had here, and I marked them, because if I get a hybrid, a Meyer lemon is half citron, and then a quarter mandarin and a quarter pomelo. So that's a combination of 3 different things at an interesting ratio, kind of like some of our sheep. Some of our sheep are half Shetland Fin, and then half Jacob sheep, or, you know, different variations like that. But I thought, well, if I can take one of those and cross it with my trifoliate, then I could save the seed from that. It would still make a trifoliate, but the trifoliate being sired with pollen from a Meyer lemon would have a genetic code in its seed that was different. And if I planted those, I could potentially get something bigger, tastier, hardier that could grow out here as well. So we're really looking forward to establishing more of the citrus that can grow here, and then maybe even crafting some citrus that's new. That's a new species. It kind of reminds me of, I've got some apples over there, and I was driving through Illinois, and these are apples I'm growing from seed, but I was driving through Illinois and I saw this tree and it looked like an upside down grape. It was so heavy laden with fruit. And I was like, I want to have your children. Like the fruit that you're making, I want the next generation growing on my property, on my homestead, because we want things to be abundant here. So as you see, when I've got 50 or 60 little baby trifoliates, they're not all going in the ground here, but it gives me an opportunity to be incredibly fruitful here. And I'm really excited about what the future holds. So thanks Southern Blessed for this one. Thanks to my buddy Aaron for getting me some of the Flying Dragon. Thanks to Sanctified Supply Co. for keeping me clothed, right? And thank you guys for waiting around. We've got a lot more planned this year. It's just, I'm gardening right now. I wanted to get some of these transplanted, wanted to get out here and do this, and I didn't want to miss this opportunity just to share this exciting experience with you guys, because we're being fruitful and multiplying, and we're really excited about that. And for those of you who guessed who that seedling was, let's take a look at it and I'll tell you who it was. This looks kind of like a little pine tree or something, or a little cedar, but it's actually an asparagus. So we like growing asparagus that have both male and female, like Mary Washington would be a good example of that, because then they flower and they go to seed and we get the next generation. If you had something like a Jersey Knight, that's an all-male hybrid, so none of them go to seed. But we like seeds because that gives us that next generation. It was an asparagus. I'll see you next time. Pop out.
Thank you for watching. Hit the like button. Thumbs up.
The cow head is good?
Yeah.
That's because you know.